What is up, guys? It's Jimbo here and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going through the PVE tier list for the exotic weapons in Destiny 2. This is specifically to PVE. Before we jump into everything, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell as well, and come and check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/itsjimbo. I usually go live a couple of times a week. So, to give you a little bit of an overview, the tiers that we have are easy mode, which is the top tier, which essentially means that it makes PvE even easier than what it already is. Pretty damn good to, upper tier quality like PvE exotic. Decent, which is just a little bit, above average. We have pretty bad, and then don't even equip. And these are going to be weapons that I just don't think are even worth having on your character. For PvE specifically. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video, so let's waste no time and jump in. First of all, we have Coldheart. Coldheart, for me, is our first don't even equip. Coldheart is definitely, a cool weapon, but it's taken over by Divinity and what Divinity can bring to the table. It used to be good when trace rifles were like the meta, like way back at the beginning of D2. But yeah, it doesn't really have as many uses. It's not really good for anything else, and it just doesn't. When a legendary trace rifle does the same job as this, I would have to say, it's pretty. It's don't even equip this. We also then have the Ruinous Effigy. Now, the Ruinous Effigy I would put in pretty bad to also don't even equip. The Ruinous Effigy, with the right setup, you can mess around with a really fun build where you are picking up the orbs and throwing them down or throwing them at different enemies and such. But outside of that, it gonna goes into pretty bad and don't even equip. I would probably even put it as don't even equip compared to some of the ones that you have in the game. Then we have 1K. 1K is easy mode. You can burn bosses down, especially this season with particle deconstruction that's available via the seasonal mods. It's just a generally very good DPS weapon. It will get the job done across all different areas in PvE, hard level PvE, I should say, and then just regular PvE. It's just easy mode, man. It's just so easy mode. Arbalist. Arbalist is decent. The only reason I'd put decent instead of it stops it from being pretty damn good is that Arbalist is a anti-barrier weapon now, which means it's going to be seeing some definite use in GMs going forward for anti-barrier breaking. But the problem that kind of Arbalist falls into is its damage fall off, and also outside of this season, once again, the particle deconstruction is going to be, a pretty killer for this. So it might be pretty good, but, is it worth wasting an exotic slot on it sometimes? That's the question you need to ask. Vex Mythoclast. The thing that stops Vex from being pretty damn good to easy mode is the fact that it's a primary weapon, and the linear version of the weapon doesn't do as much damage as you want. You could argue it goes into easy mode purely because of the double, having like a special weapon and a primary weapon at once. And you can definitely make that argument, but for me, it's going in pretty damn good. And yeah, I definitely think it's in a good place. Wish Ender. Don't even equip this. Wish Ender had like a couple of bugs that happened a while ago, and it made it even more super powered. But out of all the bows that are exotic, this is probably one of the worst ones, so I'd just avoid this altogether. Next of all, I think that is Drang. I'm just going to quickly have a look. I believe that's Drang. Sturm, that is. Now, for PvE, Sturm is a do not equip. The main reason being is I don't really find it's any better than a lot of the other hand cannons that are in the game. You kind of wasted an exotic slot on it. You could potentially use Sturm and Drang together, but then there's two kinetics, and it's not really going to give you much usage. In PVE, or PvP I should say, potential for using that because it's a 120, but yeah, it's not the greatest in my opinion, so don't even equip this. Thunderlord. I'm going to put Thunderlord in average. The main reason being is it's now got a defined role where it comes to being able to do, arc damage and also ad clear damage. It's not the great at boss DPS, but it will potentially have a buff in the future. It could go up to decent or even pretty damn good if they do like a mod that puts people into using machine guns a little bit more. But average, that's where it belongs right now. Legend of Aquarius, pretty bad. The only reason it's in pretty bad is because there's not many encounters that kind of fit the Legend of Aquarius into the situations that you'll need it to, but it's definitely better than don't even equip, pretty much because it has very good high DPS and it over penetrates as well when you fire it. So that's where that belongs. Merciless is pretty bad to average for me, purely because of the seasonal mod, and that's what kind of knocks it down to pretty bad. Take away the fusion rifle mod and it's just generally not that great. Now we got the Trinity of hand cannons coming up next. We've got Ace of Spades, Hawkmoon, and Last Word. We're going to do Last Word first. In PvE, there's one specific build that makes it average, but it's pretty bad. It's not the greatest of hand cannons. There's other options that you can go with for using it if you're going to use an exotic hand cannon, especially. I think that Ace of Spades and Hawkmoon definitely have it up on that. Last Word, it's not that it's a bad weapon. I just don't think it has the right perk for PvE. It's definitely more of a PvP weapon, in my personal opinion. Ace of Spades, decent. The reason why the Ace of Spades is very decent because if you combine it with Chromatic Fire, you can make a really good explosion build when you hit headshots and stuff, and just everything starts exploding and that. And it kind of goes into the Ace of Spades' perk, which allows you to, when you get headshots, you get the Memento Mori that stacks up, and then that'll allow you to do even more damage as well. So pretty decent. And then Hawkmoon, I'm also going to put in decent, purely because Hawkmoon has a decent amount of usage if you're going to, if you really enjoy hand cannons and you want to pop things in the head and get the ×6 of the paracausal, I can't remember, the paracausal shot, I think it is what the name of the perk is. It's definitely not the greatest. It could definitely be put in average over decent for sure. But I think that's where it's a good space for it to belong. Borealis, average to decent. I can't really decide on this one because on the one hand it has really good the ability to swap between all of the three elements, but snipers, when it comes to special snipers, and if you're going to use an exotic sniper, you wouldn't really pick this one because it doesn't really have the greatest of DPS personally. And speaking of snipers, it kind of just goes into the fact that we have Ignis Burden. I think Ignis Burden is still a god tier easy mode weapon when you get it to work. If you use Divinity with it and you use 2 Izanagis, you can burn through champions. You can get decent DPS out on it, even though they've nerfed it. It used to be, just even greater. I remember doing a lot of reload cancelling and stuff with it previously. And that kind of also leads me into the next weapon when it comes to easy mode, which is with a horde. It's just easy mode. Fire it on the floor, forget about it, it'll do tick damage. Fire at an enemy, do tick damage. That's the easiest one to go. Fighting Lion, don't even equip. Fighting Lion is a fun weapon. It's a meme weapon. I use it here and there, but it's not the greatest. It's literally a kinetic grenade launcher, and comparing it to other grenade launchers in the game, it kind of just falls flat on its face. And then another exotic that kind of does fall flat on its face when it comes to machine guns is Heir Apparent. Don't even equip this. The only upside to using Heir Apparent is the fact that you can get a shield around you But apart from that, you're kind of wasting an exotic slot personally. Xenophage, pretty damn good. Xenophage is great for a lot of different encounters. It's not the greatest at DPS as it used to be. It used to be pretty damn good before they toned it back a little bit. But it's great for popping oracles. It's great for just popping annoying enemies that are orange bars or finishing off a yellow bar. Fantastic. I love this weapon. I think it's in a good spot where it is and pretty damn good. Anarchy, easy mode. Once again, fire and forget. Don't even need to talk about Anarchy anymore. Tikus Divination. Pretty damn good. Tikus Divination is a fantastic weapon for Overload champions. If you use it in combination with another person that's got Tikus, once again, you'll be able to chain them off each other. Insane. I've used this a lot in GMs, and it is a fantastic exotic, and I think it's one of the best exotic primaries to be using in GMs and such, and even just builds in general. It's a lot of fun to use. Graviton Lance, don't even use. Could potentially have some build potential. Not that great. Le Monarch. Le Monarch is just under pretty damn good because I have used it in a lot of lost sectors, and it does do the job that you want. And I've enjoyed using it as well. Not too much to take into about that. Huckleberry. Average. Huckleberry is a fantastic exotic when in a time period that it's not in right now. When you wanted a fast clearing SMG, this was the one. And then Recluse kind of took its place, and then the meta kind of shifted a little bit. So that's where it pretty goes right now. Lumina, once again, pretty bad. It does have some usage when it comes to healing your teammates, but outside of that, it's not the greatest. Lament, easy mode, breaking shields, being able to do a decent amount of damage on it as well is fantastic. We're going to rattle through a couple of these primaries here. Cerberus is meh. Vigilance Wing is meh. Salvage's Salvation's Grip is pretty damn poor. DMT, average, because when scout rifles are the premium to break shields, it's pretty decent. Outside of that, though, it could probably drop down to pretty bad, but DMT is pretty decent. Thorn, decent. The reason why Thorn is indecent is because you can combine it with Necrotic Grips and do a really fun build there, but outside of that, it could probably fall down to average as well on its own, compared to hawkmoon and Ace of Spades. Jade Rabbit, Monte Carlo, Skyburner's Oath. Darcy is average. It's got really good DPS, but compared to the other snipers in the game, it's not that great. Leviathan's Breath, I'm not going to go into here. Galahorn, God tier. Since it's come back into the game, it's absolutely nuts. And just the ability to give your teammates rockets as well is fantastic. It kind of is if we talk about Eyes of Tomorrow is average compared to Galley. It's trying to do something kind of similar to what the Wolfpack rounds are, and it kind of does fall a little bit flat. Eyes of Tomorrow in comparison, and once again it kind of goes into the trio. There's a couple of them that have these different trackings. I'll do the other one while I'm here, which is Deathbringer. Deathbringer, I would say, is better than Warcliffe and Eyes of Tomorrow. And the reason why I like the Deathbringer is because it does a lot of more damage. And I think it's definitely going to be something that to play around with in future builds, especially with the Void subclass coming up. It could potentially jump up to there to pretty damn good if you need it. Sunshot, pretty damn good. I've used this in a few builds, especially explosion builds, and it definitely has its usages, especially with elemental well mods as well. It makes it fantastic. Let's rattle through another couple. Graviton Lance, Hardlight is kind of like Borealis, so I'd probably say pretty bad personally. Prospector, don't even equip. We'll come back to a couple of these. Malfeasance, pretty bad to don't even equip. The Forerunner, I haven't really used too much, so I'd probably say don't even equip. Two-Tailed Fox, don't even equip. Telesto, if I could put another tier above it because it breaks the game, that's where I would put it. If I wanted to do that. We also have Shirash Regime. We're going to put that in there. Polaris Lance. Bastion. Lord of Wolves. Mida Multi-Tool. Chaperone. What else is in it? Worldline Zero. Truth can stay there. Tommy's Matchbook. Symmetry. What else have we got? Black Talon. Sweet Business for the memes. I'm pointing in pretty bad because it is a pretty meme weapon. Wave Splitter. Not Polaris Lance. One of the trace rifles. I can't remember the name of it. Crimson. Tractor Cannon I'll go through. So these are some of the exotics that are left that are actually pretty good. Rat King as well. Don't even equip that. Devil's Ruin. Once again, don't even equip that. Colony. Don't even bother to equip it. Alright, so let's break down the last few exotics and stuff. For me, Traveler's Chosen is pretty damn good. It's not quite easy mode. It does give your abilities back when you get kills and such with it. But I do think that it does what an exotic needs to do, and it feels like an exotic weapon more than most. It's pretty good, but I think that there may be other options that you could potentially go with, especially with a lot of primaries that are in the game. Bad Juju, personally, I think is decent because the ability to be able to get your super back. If this does get a buff in future, this is going to be pretty good to use for getting supers back very, very quickly. No Time to Explain, I'd say is pretty bad. The only reason I wouldn't say it's that bad is because you can do an Arc Soul build with it and have the Pulse Rifles ability or the Exotics ability firing out shots and also your Arc Souls as well. It's like a mini turret build, I think is pretty cool. I missed one here, Cloud Strike. This one's a tough one. I'm either going to go pretty bad or don't even equip, but I'd say don't even equip this. Trinity Goal, easy mode. Actually, no, for me, pretty good. I wouldn't say it's easy mode, but this is insane in regular PVE modes. It just absolutely destroys everything. And I think it's just as good as Tikus Divination. Divinity, pretty damn good. You get the damage buff off of it as well. And also when it pops, you are able to do a little bit of extra damage. So this is very good when you're doing it in GMs. I've used Divinity a lot. Arias Vow. For me, it's a combination of easy mode and pretty damn good. I'm going to put it pretty damn good because it doesn't quite break the game. And it isn't just kind of overpowered in the sense. It's really good for barriers. And it's a very good entry-level barrier weapon that I enjoy using. Likewise, I'm going to put Lawrence Driver in decent, even though I think it's absolutely fantastic for a void, explosion type build. I do think it's decent is where it belongs. Whisper, easy mode. Whisper is going to be king soon, hopefully, with the buffs to its DPS and how it works. I haven't tested out the damage on it recently, but I definitely think this, Sleeper and Galleyhorn will be very much used in the upcoming raid. Outbreak Perfected, pretty bad, but it has a very good perk, so that's where it pretty much belongs. Tractor Cannon is decent. It's not as good, in my personal opinion, as Divinity because you can't have a consistent damage buff that is given out via Divinity, but also you could argue that when you apply Tractor Cannon, you can then swap to something that'll do more damage. So there's a little bit of a debate there. So you could put the one above the other or the other one, put them on the same level. Agarscepter, decent. It's fantastic in stasis builds, and that's why it gets boosted all the way up into decent. Otherwise, it'd be rather average. And I do think it's when you spec into it with all of the other stasis stuff, it's a phenomenal thing to use. Taraba has a lot of potential. Unfortunately, it's not the greatest, in my opinion. I do think that if you're able to stow the perk and build up the perk with another weapon, potentially, then it could be just as good. Duality, don't even equip this. I missed this one out. Yotan is a meme, and that's why I'm going to put don't even equip. It's just a meme weapon for me in PvE specifically. Risk Runner is easy mode. Risk Runner has saved me so many times in different raids with enemies that have arc. So definitely think about trying to get one of these. You can do a quest for it, which is really easy to get when you are a new light player. Risk Runner is very, very good. Truth is probably the bottom of the barrel when it comes to a lot of the rockets, personally. I don't think it's the greatest. It's just got, like, tracking to it. The same with Queensbreaker. It kind of falls off. Queensbreaker should be a special. It should be like Arbalist, personally. I don't think it being a heavy is that great. Fourth Horseman is average. It's got one of the better DPSs in the game, burst DPSs in the game, which I think is pretty decent. If you want to get up close in a lot of encounters, it's very much like the Legend of Arias, but you can get, the reason why it goes above that is because you can get special ammo with this instead of heavy ammo with this one. Sleeper, easy mode. Sleeper is very consistent from when I've been using it, and it also gets a buff this season with the Season of the Lost mod, the Particle Deconstructor. And finally, we have Cryesthesia. Originally, Cryesthesia was in pretty bad, but for me right now, I think it's pretty damn good, purely because you're able to just combo it with a lot of stuff for agarscepter, like the way that it works with stasis. I have a numerous amount of builds with this. And essentially with the new setup that you can turn this into a dragonfly type weapon, which is pretty damn cool. So there is the final list. I'm going to go for the easy mode weapons for me. We got 1K, Ignis Burden, Witherhoard, Anarchy, Lament, Galahorn. Telesto would be even higher than this because it breaks the game all the time. Whisper, Risk Runner, and Sleeper. We have Vex, Xenophage, Tikus Divination, Sunshot, Traveler's Chosen, Trinity Goal, Divinity, Arias Vow, and Cryesthesia. So those are the top 2 tiers. Tell me what your thoughts are down in the description. If you disagree with placements and where you think you should put them, then by all means, I'd love to have a conversation with you. And that pretty much wraps up the video. If you've enjoyed it, please make sure you hit a like on it, subscribe if you're new, and turn on the notification bell. Come and check me over at twitch.tv/Jimbo. I go live a couple of times a week. But as always, this has been Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.